Hey everybody, welcome to BrickVault. Today is another LEGO Top 10 MOCs of the Week episode where I show you guys the coolest custom creations I happen to see people building in LEGO throughout this last week. I'm not showing any of them in order to from best to worst, just 10 cool creations I thought deserved a little bit of extra attention, and of course there's a bunch more linked in the description below. I haven't actually labeled the designers this time around. I think it's kind of fun to click the random links in the description to different Flickr feeds. And before I jump in, I do want to say the custom build instructions that went up in our web store this week is the Ghost 2.0. We updated our very large minifigure scale LEGO Star Wars Ghost, and the reskin of the top panels is where we focused most of our attention. It's now sitting in Yavin. It looks awesome. If you haven't seen the video, I think it is worth a watch. It's one of the most impressive builds that I think exists currently in our studio right now. And let's jump into the first build of the week for top 10. From Peter Ilmrud, this is a build titled Teddy is Lost, and it is an extremely well put together what looks like post-apocalyptic, post-alien invasion scene. There are three main destroyed buildings, and these kinds of scenes are always really fun because the architecture on the outside is actually quite detailed and there's some really fun design choices, and then the designer gets the added extra fun of destroying them down and also making them look overgrown and adding a lot of organic elements as well. This is what really grabs me, but there's also quite a lot of scenes and very creepy things happening with the aliens searching and what I am assuming is a search and destroy mission trying to still take out some of the surviving humans. It's a pretty massive diorama with lots of fun little areas hidden around, and I especially appreciate the build for just the massive variability of different styles included. Now moving on to Hachiroku 24, this custom builder should be pretty well known to those that are plugged into the LEGO building world. He has put together a fast and furious Toyota Supra that just looks so good. 8 stud wide is I love this style. It's the new Speed Champions adopted style, and it's perfect for fitting a couple of minifigs inside and just adding the slight extra space for building to really get those details to specify particular car model types. My two favorite parts of this model are the build for the front headlights. I really think that's a fun little clever connection, and also the backlights. It's a completely different style, and frankly I haven't seen anybody try to build the backlights in this particular way. It looks like a bunch of bar pieces have been all studded in together. And then from the builder John Moffat, we have two different pictures of different colors of the same helicopter. The title is Chinook Sky H5, and that is of course a play on the name Chinook Sky H5. I think that's how it's pronounced. It's the name of this helicopter, and it's definitely one of the more fun designs I think for these early helicopters. It was first developed in the early 1940s, served in the Korean War, but variations of this particular style were used for all kinds of things for many years. The yellow build is very much based on a real version of the helicopter, and this blue one looks like it is carrying out a rescue mission, which very much could have been serving for the Navy during the Korean War. Personally, I just love the style of this helicopter. I think John Moffat really knocked out the build well, especially when it comes to the canopy. It's built digitally. He used some slope pieces that I don't think exist in trans clear, but I think this look could be pulled off pretty well with the front cockpit still being done in trans black and the rest of those windows done in just regular black. It's a really fun design. Let's move on to a build from Ted Andes, and it's called Ywing Evolved. It's this builder's second time playing around with the evolution of the Y-Wing, and personally I think it's just a wonderful looking sci-fi build. He's reduced the size a bit and just kind of cleaned up the ship, made it not look so rugged and run down like the normal ones are, and I particularly like the use of those curved pieces, those larger curved archway bricks along the back. The head doesn't feel quite as detached from the body with those slope pieces kind of coming all the way back towards the arms. And all in all, it just feels a little bit different, a little bit cleaner, and it's ultimately just a fun looking LEGO sci-fi build. And now we're taking a look at one of the coolest LEGO Technic RC cars I've seen. People do RC Technic all the time, but the designer Fontisek has built a Porsche at a smaller scale than the normal LEGO large orange Technic Porsche, but managed to make it just look and feel a little bit more clean. It's kind of got this buggy feel to it. I love the way the plates all fit together, all the sheet metal on the top. It's built in one large shell, which is also just a really fun design. It makes it very easy to access the frame and electronics on the inside. And I think he did use a different RC control, so it's not 100% Technic, on the inside. But when you see how well this thing drives around in his video, also linked in the description, you'll understand why he did it. It moves around really fast, it's very responsive, and LEGO should be taking some cues from this particular builder because this is a set that I think a lot of people would really like to have. Now from the builder Forlorn Empire, we have by far the best technique build of the week and one of the best technique builds of the year so far in my personal opinion. There are just so many interesting uses of parts here to make the interesting and ornate interior of this cave or temple that these explorers are traveling through. The official title is Deeper, but let me just zoom in and show off some of the very interesting, intricate details that we have. Starting at the top by the roof, we have a lot of cheese wedge pieces that are inlaid into these little arch bricks, which are fun. The inside of these 1x2s are decorated with bars in between those little spaces. And then further down, we have a ton of overlapped, I think, bucket handles. That's what we're looking at for the wall here. Those are all bucket handles. The columns have a lot of stacked up panel pieces. And look at the stonework inlaid to the ground. All the dark tan cheese wedge pieces have been put together in a way that makes a perfect rectangle that also fits flush into, I guess, tan window pieces. I'm not sure what they're fitting into, but good gosh darn if that isn't just, oh wait, also the columns. The columns are made up of a ton of clip pieces with bars that go in between all of them. There's obviously a few other things that I've missed, but good gosh dang, that is just, there's just so many interesting, wonderful techniques thrown into this build, and I love finding new connections for bricks like this. Now we move on to a build and a style that we just don't really get in LEGO bricks too often. From the designer Timothy Kachev, we have the title Coffee and Cigarettes. This is Tom Waits and Iggy Pop having coffee and cigarettes, and it's also a scene from the movie Coffee and Cigarettes, which I saw a long time ago, and I really only remember when Bill Murray was hanging out with the Wu-Tang Clan. Everything is done in black and white, and I think he built this in black, white, and gray. I don't know if he actually just took monochrome photos of this, but all the bricks I think are black, white, gray, and dark gray. What's particularly nice though are the builds for the faces. Tom Waits actually kind of looks like Tom Waits, and Iggy Pop definitely looks recognizable. Their clothes are so much fun. I really like the way he did Iggy Pop's jacket, and you can see his t-shirt and sort of bent torso on the inside there, and there's just sort of a mood and attitude captured in this single photo that just feels so real. Timothy builds things in very interesting and intricate ways, and I highly recommend that you check out his Flickr, because you'll see more unique and different approaches from this guy than I think from the average LEGO designer. Now here's a build that has been in progress from Ben Smith for a very long time, and his latest video update is so incredibly impressive. This is the Ark build, and it's a massive ship that looks like it's made for doing long voyages through space, and it's got a gravity ring with an organic and life-sustaining interior. My guess is that this would be a micro scale build and that the insides are very large biomes. And of course the idea is with the spinning circle, there is an artificial gravity imposed on the people and living things that are within the ring. The external detailing for the ship itself is wonderful. The build for the ring is awesome. The whole thing is motorized and moves around. Everything's lit up. So I decided to show off his latest pictures. And now we're jumping on down to the final two from the designer Norton 74. We have the title Into the Wild and the Magic Bus. So this is a scene from the story from Chris McCandless, which was both a book and then later turned into a movie, which I won't get into now if you don't know the story already, but this is an abandoned bus where Chris McCandless lived off the land for some time. The build for the vehicle is so wonderfully smooth, and it seems to have settled in nicely along the tree line in this outdoor woodsy area. Looks like fall's coming around with the different color changing trees, so winter's not far away, and there are just so many fun lived-in details that you can spot anywhere and everywhere in this build. The entire interior of the bus is also completely built through, and it's definitely one of those highly detailed builds that are worth taking a closer and even closer look at. But now we're gonna finish off with a build from the designer Mirko Sapelsa. This is Project K, and this guy builds maybe one giant Lego Star Wars creation a year, and every time he does, it's like the best and coolest version of that thing ever. And this time around, he's built a huge UCS scale K2SO. My guess, and when you see the picture here, I'm pretty sure that it is designed to scale with R2-D2 and BB-8 UCS sets, though he has upped the details by quite a huge margin compared to the Lego sets. K2SO is very smooth and angular. He feels a little bit more modern and clean, and the proportions are just perfect. He looks a little bit posable, which is kind of fun, and there are a lot of fun details to get lost in, but I really appreciate that he built in some mechanical detailing underneath the back plating that we have. You can tell that this designer very much loves getting lost in his large projects, and only the best quality version of a build is acceptable to Mirko. This is a really, really cool model. I would love to build one of these myself one day, and I wonder why nobody's really tried to knock out a UCS scale C3PO that could match along with the rest of these droids. Maybe someone has and I just haven't seen it. Anyways, guys, that is going to be it for the top 10 MOCs of the week episode. Let me know which builds you thought were your favorite. Remember, links to everything and a whole heck of a lot more are in the description below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time at BrickVault. Hey, if you like seeing our LEGO creations and or collections online, they're even more impressive in person. Our LEGO studio in San Diego is now open on the weekends. Click the link in the description below for more information or if you want to schedule a tour.